right. Welcome back, guys. It's Chester here, Chester Fields. If you don't know, local Chicago producer artist. Today we've got two special guests. We've got Mati and we got Twan back on here. Twan did episode, the very first episode with us, but lucky to have them here. They just did a track with the one and only Golf Clap for Country Club Records. Mati, if you want to introduce yourself here, Twan, you can give him a little spiel again.
What's up, guys? My name is Mati. I go by Mati US. But just call me Mati. All my friends call me Mati, you know. Yeah, I'm born and raised in Miami. Uh, Born Hispanic, Mexican mom, Ecuadorian dad. Moved to Chicago about 5 years ago. Been meeting a lot of influential people in the scene, such as Twan and Chester himself, you know. Really great to be working with, local Chicago DJ and producers and hoping to take my talents elsewhere, you know. Pretty hyped about the buzz I'm getting along with my tracks, you know. So hopefully it grows. Love what I'm doing. And stick around for the ride, guys.
You're on to some big things there, bud. I'm happy
Thanks,
for you.
dude. I appreciate it, man.
Twan, you give a little scoop again. You just want to say what's up. You don't have to give scary
What up,
details.
everybody? You already know
Yeah.
I did the intro yesterday. So
All right. Well, Mati, how long have you been a DJ slash producer? How long have you been doing it all? I might have missed it there.
So I've been producing first. I've been producing um since high school, you know. I'm 22 years old and I started my senior year of high school, kind of fucking around in GarageBand, as I guess most of us do, right? Yeah.
That's how it
Making
goes.
for your boys, you know, in the bedroom, just trying to like making rap or rock or whatever I guess felt right. And it wasn't until COVID where I had already liked house music, and I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just try? So I tried in GarageBand and I downloaded a cracked version of Logic, which actually corrupted my first computer. Fun fact. Don't crack your shit, buy it. It's gonna get a fucking virus, malware, all
Hear
that.
that, young ones? Do not crack anything. Do
Yeah,
not
yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah. And one of my best friends till this day, his name is Steven. Shout out to Steven Sabo. He dude, he got me in music production.
oh no
Yeah.
shit.
And during COVID, where we just didn't do anything, I would just go over to his house because he was studying music at Full Sail. And I play instruments and whatnot. So I would help him on the musical aspect, and he would teach me audio engineering.
Mhm.
And we kind of grew that simultaneous approach where, like, okay, you do this, I do that. And I learned off him. And then it went towards like, okay, now let me just try making music on my own. And I went my own route. And I started doing all the house and all that. And yeah, then, oh, sorry, let me just turn off my fucking notifications real quick. Yeah, so sorry about that, guys. Yeah, to make a long story short, I've been producing
I didn't know that.
since
Shit.
yeah, bro, since what, 2020? Started taking it seriously 2022. I was in Costa Rica on a boys trip, and it was during the COVID time, like the after effects and whatnot, and they wouldn't let me leave the country because I tested positive. So I was stuck in a hotel room for 2 weeks in quarantine, and I downloaded Ableton. I'm like, you know what? I went from Logic and I'm going to Ableton because everyone's doing Ableton, right? At least everyone in the US is Ableton,
That was my
right?
move. That was my move
And
too.
so those 2 weeks, I literally spent at least 12 hours a day learning how the fuck to use Ableton, watching YouTube videos, all that. And I crunched out like 4 tunes, sent them out to buddies. They're like, hey, like, what do you think? They're like, wow, like, we really like this. Some were like, yo, this is absolute dog shit, but what do you expect when you first start producing? You're gonna make dog shit.
Yeah.
But you know, it's all about believing in yourself, right?
Facts.
So I got back home to Chicago, and then I started meeting like-minded individuals who were already much ahead of me. They started mentoring me along the way, and I've grown through that. And the whole DJ part was more so during COVID as well. My friend, my best friend at the time, he bought a DJ controller and he's like, okay, let's just fuck around and learn how to use it. And within a matter of weeks, I learned how to kind of DJ and whatnot, but I really didn't do anything until a year after, where one of my connections at Joy District offered me a gig, and I actually brought in my own controller to play on top of the already pre-existing CDJs there. So you know, imagine like bringing your own controller and like placing them on top of CDJs and being like, yeah, like I'm
Oh,
6 hour set. Like,
dude.
I had never used CDJs before, right? So whatever. I played a 6 hour set. It wasn't supposed to be 6 hours, it was only supposed to be 2 hours, but it was Mexican Independence Day. And the traffic was so bad that the main DJ after me was canceled because he couldn't get he couldn't go to Joy District, right?
Yeah.
So the manager at the time, Chris, a good guy, a really good guy, Chris Butcher. Shout out to him. Yeah. He was like, Mati, this is on you now, bro. Like,
Good luck.
like you're doing good. Just don't fuck up. Like, fuck up. So like, all right, like whatever. Like, what's the worst that gonna happen? And like Parlay is where I DJ'd at, like the first floor. And they normally play like top 40s, but like they knew me. I only play house. And like they're like, okay, maybe like Mati for the first 2 hours he plays house, and then the next DJ, top 40s, please the crowd, whatever, bottles are bought, all this shit. No, I didn't have any top 40s. I just played house. And the crowd reaction was just so good. It honestly motivated me to like do this, you know? It was reassuring. I'm like, wow, like I can actually read the room. I'm able to play music that people want to hear. And for them, not a lot of them listen to house music. So for them, it was kind of a learning experience. For like, oh my God, like I'm listening to a genre I normally don't listen to, but I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah.
So it really stems for me, even today as a DJ, where like I like to play music where people don't really know what it is, but I know they're gonna like it, you know? I guess it's like my taste in music, I don't know, something like that. But I always read the room, I play for the crowd, I play for myself, and I'm just making sure everyone's having a good time. That's exactly what happened. And since then, I've grown a lot, right? I've played at very respected venues, not only in Chicago, but also in Miami, such as Paraíso Stereo, down the street from Club Space, and at Treehouse, which was very cool. And upcoming sets, I'm playing at Somewhere Nowhere in how many days? I want to
That's
say
in
in a
New
week
York,
and a half.
right?
Yeah, in New York.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a rooftop in New York. Always wanted to play there. Got the opportunity from my buddy Koopy. And at night, there's gonna be an after party at a new club opening at the Hotel Indigo in the East Side in Manhattan, which is gonna be pretty sick.
Nice.
And yeah, I got some more DJ gigs lined up that I can't really speak about right now. Uh, yeah, I mean, the ball's rolling and I'm absolutely hyped for it, you know? I'm here for the
I'm
ride.
happy for you, dude.
You know?
I'm proud of you, bro. Twan, what do you got? What do you got coming up? What DJ gigs you got coming up?
Dude, I'm doing my same party every Friday, Celeste. Um, it's a banger every night. For the time being, that's it. I'm playing at Soundbar in a couple weeks, playing in Milwaukee this weekend, kind of wrapping up that like little Midwest run of shows that I'm doing right now. Um, yeah, just kind of waiting to announce some other stuff as well. So got some big shows for the summer planned and just kind of waiting to get those announced and just chill 'em.
Yes, sir. Mati, tell us who your top three inspirations are.
Top inspirations.
Whether if it's, it could be a DJ, it could be anybody, an artist.
Okay.
You know mine.
I know yours. I know yours.
Which is yours, too, damn.
I asked Twan the same question. It's like it's a good,
yes.
it's a good one to ask.
You know,
We have similar feelings.
we do. We really do. I'm not gonna say the obvious choice because you already said it. Corolla, King Marco Corolla, that's already a given, right?
Don.
Honestly, dude, the whole Solid Grooves movement is just so sick. Michael, Bibby, and Pausa, I guess I would group them in one, right? They've revolutionized what minimal deep tech is, and that's kind of the style I'm curating right now with my productions. As a DJ, I'd say Solomon. He's fucking insane. He is absolutely insane. This guy knows how to tell a story, you know? And I love that. He just makes you dance uncontrollably for 10 hours. because there's DJs that make you want to dance for 1 hour, just hype music, which is dope.
Yeah.
But he just kind of like takes you on a trip and is like, wow, I checked my health app on my phone, like, wow, I like took 30,000 steps at this rate. Like, what is that? Right.
Yeah.
And the last one, I want to say Dilby.
Oh yeah, dude.
So Dilby, why I look at him as an inspiration, because he posts a lot of YouTube videos where he goes,
OG videos.
yeah, exactly. That's where
Um,
I gain a lot of information and knowledge when it comes to production, because he goes down to the gritty details, right? And he just knows how to effectively achieve what a lot of the producers nowadays are making, right? So you want to make a track like Max Dean, boom, he has a video like that. East End Dubs, there you go. Dilby is a fantastic inspiration, and I recommend him for anyone.
Definitely.
so what we're gonna do here, we're gonna have you break down. Why don't you pull up your guys' latest single remix that you did for the Basura Boyz on Country Club Records, and we'll go through that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, gotcha.
Sweet. Okay. So
Fantasy remix.
so this is our collab. This is a remix for the Basura Boyz. Shout out to Steve and Nick, the homies.
Boys.
They were the ones making it possible to give it into the hands of Golf Clap and his label. Shout out to them for believing in us since the start, right? And originally Nick gave us the vocals and offered us to do the remix, and we tested out some ideas, and this is, I guess, the final result, which we're really happy about.
Those
So
dudes are wizards.
absolute wizards.
Wizard.
Love chatting with them at the studio, you
Love the
know,
boys.
bouncing ideas back and forth, even making tracks, just talking shit about life. That's all what it is, you know, like it's all about having a good time. I am a sole believer in that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty heavy production. Don't get intimidated by like a lot of the things here.
How many layers do you have? You got
So
63.
we have 63 channels, and I divide them in, well, we divided them in 6 layers, right? Let me break them down right here. Is it 5? No, it's 5 layers. I'm sorry.
Layers.
So we got the low end, which is the kick and bass, right? We got the drums, you know, claps, hi-hats, percussion, all sorts of that. Got the synthesizers, all the instruments and whatnot in one single group, pads and whatever it is. With the vocals here for the main vocals, ad-libs, and, you know, atmospheric vocals. And we have the effects, which is just kind of like white noise and just kind of fillers that just kind of keep the track interesting, right? That's where we kind of place ear candy. And yeah.
Why don't you take us from top to bottom, take us through the low end first, and then you can go down, work your way down.
Will do. The low end looks kind of cluttered right now. It's because we had different ideas, right? So we had more than 3 ideas, right? But we kind of muted them and we kind of resampled the idea. I think we chose idea 3. And let me just close this down. So a reference track that we used for the bass line was Clutter by Sosa. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, that's why, because my Diva's acting up. Yeah, I need to buy that. My license is just kind of messed up. But on that note, it's a very plucky bass line, as you can see right here, right? Playing a very simple pattern, you know, 16th notes on a rolling basis. And the processing wasn't really too extensive. You know, kickstart a sidechain, right? The kick from bass and all that, nothing too heavy. The LA2 compressor, 2A2 compressor from UAD, fantastic. I use this basically on bass and vocals. It's a very rich compressor that preserves a lot of dynamics, and it's really easy to use, right? That's why I love it. And then just an overall EQ, just kind of rolling out the sub a little bit, and the utility working in mono, making sure everything is mono. So fun fact, if you want to achieve true mono, right? And Basura Boyz taught us this.
You taught me this too. You took
Yes. Is that instead of just, this is how it is normally, it's in stereo. but you can press mono and it will be quote unquote mono. But if you want to achieve true mono, you just pan this to the left. And mono and stereo signals are different because mono is just a singular, one-dimensional fucking thing that goes like this. And stereo, think of it as, 2D, right? It's just like a straight line. And then stereo is 3D, which has two bands, which is the left and right, and they go kind of like sideways and whatnot. So if you pick one of the channels, it'll just receive like just the singular left or side, right? You can either choose left or right, but I choose left because why not? Fuck it. Why not? And just lower the gain by 2 dBs around there. I don't know, just gain staging. And it sounds like this. Re-recorded. Oh, and there's some more processing over here, which is a re-record. We added some decapitator. I knew there was more. So we there's always more. So we just use decapitator, which saturates bass, adds more harmonics, makes it a little bit thicker. We like crunchy boys over here, right? So we also parallel processed a chorus over here, right? Magic Switch. Dilby was the one who inspired me to get this. It's a free plugin for chorus. Really good. Recommended for everyone. Easy to use.
Great plugin.
Right. And then roll off the bass for not to get cluttered. We kind of roll off at 200 hertz here. So it adds more stereo width to the low mids rather than just the lows, right? And we did this with a dry signal and a wet signal and just kind of gain stage of minus 16 dBs to 0 dBs. And then again, utility, making everything on the left once again. And this is how it sounds, guys. This is how it sounds.
Monty, I can't hear anything.
Oh, you can't hear anything? Oh, I'm sorry.
You're good.
There we go. I think now it should be able to work. It's just resetting the audio driver.
You're good.
Oh, my computer's acting up.
No.
Oh my God.
It's all right. Give it a sec.
Oh, we have to fucking force quit Ableton. It'll take 2 seconds, guys. Bear with us.
And cut it out.
Technical difficulties. Right? Recover. Fuck yeah, why not? Recover it.
Always recover.
Always recover. You gotta recover from your losses. You gotta pick up the scraps and recover,
Make sure you save too.
Exactly. Always save,
I can't tell you the amount of times where I've like forgotten to like collect all, or like even starting a project, and I've started a project where I haven't saved it yet,
Yeah.
and I've my computer's crashed on me and I lose the whole entire project.
Yeah, no, it's fucking, oh my God. Absolute nightmare. Okay, Zoom audio device. There we go. So you guys will be able to hear it now.
Good.
Yes.
Let's
So this is
go.
how it sounds like, guys. There you go. The moment we've all been waiting for. Right? Absolute fucking roller right here. Right? And we kind of changed the variation by adding a little bit of 30-second notes, little gaps, to make it a little bit more interesting. Here. Then open it up with a cutoff filter, right? Those over here. But the cool thing is that the bass line changes just for a moment right on the drop. But I'm not going to spoil it just with this. We got to listen to it with everything so it makes more sense. So let's start off with the build-up right here. And just notice how the bass line changes and it just kind of develops and fits throughout the whole track, right? See you in my fantasy, and 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 see you in my fantasy. True. also added a mid layer to the bass when the lows are cut, when we're achieving a tension moment right before the drop, right? 16 bars before the drop usually. You add this mid layer, which kind of adds to the bass because the bass is mainly sub, right? But we added more mids to make it a little bit more clear, right? And it sounds like this. Very similar. That's what we try to achieve. West End really does a good job at doing this. I watch a lot of videos. That's what I've heard here. And with this,
Every
that's
time.
the whole thing about the bass. Kick is straightforward, nothing too much, right? Standard kick. I think it comes from Deceiver 6 pack.
Deceiver,
Evolution of Sounds, right?
It's a MIDI, right?
Yes, it's a MIDI, but we used a sampler or simpler sampler to kind of bring in the sample and kind of doing MIDI notes, kind of placing the kick where you want to, velocity at 100%. But Ableton wants to make it at 127, but why not? It's 127 instead of 100. I think it should be 100, but why not?
So with this kick, with the kick, if you go back to the MIDI, pull up the MIDI, so you can see where you drew it out. Are they set at different velocities, or are they all at the same velocity? Because
they're all the same velocity because
okay,
they're supposed to fucking hit like a brick wall.
Yeah.
Right. When the track is compressed and limited and mastered and all that, the kick is, it's the threshold point which kind of like makes it, kind of sit at the right level. Kick and bass going to be the loudest part, and it supports the bass really well, especially with the side chain. It really allows the kick to have a lot of room and punch into it, right? But the sample that we used, we just felt that the kick just was sounding super nice, and really didn't modify much of it except raw, just a little bit of the lows, a little bit of the rumble because, why not? And then just kind of ducked over here because this is where the bass kind of lives. So, that's that. And then of course, kick and mono left, we panned it over here to minus 14.7 dBs. And fun fact, in every track, our standard is to anchor the kick at minus 12 dBs, and that's always gonna be the loudest thing in the track. Kick is always gonna be the loudest thing. Then everything follows through, right?
Yeah.
Kick, bass, vocals, drums, instruments, all that, and arrange it and mix it how you please. But the kick and bass alone sound like this. So that's enough said about the low end.
Groovy.
Yes. Should we move into the drums?
Let's move into the drums.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the drums seem like a lot. It's because it low is a lot. Attention to detail is everything when it comes to music production. You always trying to sound the best as you can, and making sure everything's clear. So we have some layers.
A lot of tops.
Yes, a lot of tops. So I'm sure.
So you run your hats. Do you run your hats? Obviously, they in mono, left and right.
Yes and no. It really depends. These are stereo because the mono works nicely when it's in the lower side of the frequency spectrum, right? The higher side of the frequency spectrum can be left to kind of more width, right? Because you don't ever want a wide bass or a wide sub. That's why they say don't put reverb on a sub because it fucking muds it out, but you can put reverb on mids and highs. That works. It adds more air, right? But this is natural air, as we say, right? Like fucking a stereo hat, but it really wouldn't make that much of a difference if it was mono or stereo. But this is, I think, a closed hat, right? We kind of rolled off some of the lows and a little bit of the mids and just kind of let the highs run through, right? Then we layered it with this other hat right here. that has a little bit more low mid. So both of them together sound like this,
Kind of bouncing.
right?
Yeah.
Then the third hat we use here is a 16th hat,
Of
right?
course, you got to.
It's this one right here,
The roller.
right? Only
Beautiful.
The best.
absolutely
Beautiful.
best. This right here, add some random. It's in every single Ableton
The best.
stock. It's just Ableton stock plugins in every single DAW. I mean, every single Ableton DAW, right? Doesn't matter if you have standard, light, or suite. It's there, right? And what this does is that it fucks with the velocity by making it random, and you can control the randomness through here. We left it at 14 because why not? 14, fuck it. And that's why it kind of gives a little bit of movement, right? Every hat doesn't sound the same. And on top of that, we had a kickstart side chaining it, at a very modest level at 56%. Kind of like wow, like a duck every fourth beat, every 1/4 beat, right? So without it, it'll sound like this. Kind of a little bit robotic.
Yeah.
We want some movement, right? And then roll off some of the lows and mids, kind of leave the highs. You can also approach this by adding an auto pan, by panning it on left and right sides a little bit, but I guess we didn't do it here. But yeah, some sends over here, some return channels. This right here is a vocal rack that West End has. West End Vocals. It's fucking fantastic. It's free. You can look it up through any YouTube video that Weston's ever made. He kind of directs you where to find it. And then this one over here, it's chorus, which is magic switch. The same thing we just talked about. And it's rolled off with the lows, right? So you don't really hear much of that. And then set them at where we want to set them. And that's how it sounds. So together, everything sounds like this. Right.
So,
And the claps is the next deal of business. We have a hat. I know, sorry, we have a clap right here. Sounds like this. Very snappy, right? Cuts right through. Rolled off some of the attack to kind of leave room for the snare, which is the thing on the bottom. That's what we layered it with. Add just tiny bit of reverb, and of course a little bit of width to make it a little bit wider. And then on the bottom here, we have a snare. Give it a little bit more punch to the whole clap sound, right? Right?
yeah.
And together both sound like this.
Oh, yeah.
A wide
Yeah.
right? We want it to be. And over here we have percussion. We only really have two or three. Yeah, we have three right here. And this is pretty much just like an overarching drum beat that's going on top of the hi-hats and claps. Just going kind of like a cool.
Are you kind of using that as like a fill in a way? Or would that be?
This would be more of a texture on top of the drum. So it has that like analog, it's kind of like a drum playing, right? With it sounds like this.
Okay.
Out it.
Okay. Kind of bringing.
Yeah, it adds some more punch into the claps as well. It really fills it in. Adds a nice layer to it. This one right here is a layer we added.
Nice.
I guess you can call it an effect, but it looks like more percussion because it's kind of like a groove and a rhythm. Didn't really do much to it. I do it, but I guess it just sounds right. And then over here, we have this drum fill.
Beautiful.
Right? Justice. I also don't know why we didn't EQ that, but I guess it all.
You forget. Hey, with that many channels, sometimes you forget.
Yeah, you're prone to forget something, and when you do something like this
Happens. Bring us on to your synths here. We got about five minutes left. So
Oh, you're good. You're good. Okay.
yeah.
So this is a Juno 106. It's a Roland synthesizer.
It's the best.
It's one of the it's the fucking best, bro. What did I say? Yeah, it's the best. Has a lot of really cool patches and whatnot. We chose this one right here, and we kind of made it thicker. Added a boost by like 120 hertz around there, where like 143, no, 211 hertz. My bad. That's kind of where that lives, right? Then, again, add harmonics, fuck it up, right? Then roll off the lows a little bit, and over here another saturator, which is black box. I love using this.
Put me on this. This is
Yes,
great.
yes. It's a saturator that adds a lot of highs and crispiness to it, right? Just very slight, of course. Then over here we have a Fairchild compressor, right? Which kind of makes everything sound a little bit more fat and glued together. And we run it at 50%, so it's parallel processed because there's a dry and wet signal. And over here, this weird little EQ thing is a mid-side EQ where we kind of like EQ the mids and sorry, the mono and stereo frequencies, right? So the stereo is EQ'd like this, and the mono is like this, right?
Nice.
And sounds like this. Very fat, very. Oh. Right, and then we move on to the vocal, which we didn't really do much of it, other than some
So your EQs, delay,
auto filter, delay, filter, right? We got the vocal from Nick and Steve, and they already processed how they wanted to process it, and then we made it fit into our track. The cool thing is that we ran the original vocal through a plugin called Tantra, which is a plugin that I think everyone should use. It kind of adds really cool stutters and shit. That's how we were able to achieve this sound right here.
Stutter.
Then, of course, we got this right here.
so sick.
Yeah, and now we're going to get into the effects, that sound you just heard right here. This one right here.
Oh,
So we had to recreate it because originally it got lost in one of the projects. So we just made it from scratch again, and we kind of did justice by it. The original sound is actually this. Wait. Yeah, this is not right here. This is the recreated version. We just kind of resampled it. But it was originally just like a one shot, basically just sounded like this. Just like that. Made it a little bit more frequent, right? We added some stutters, and then pitch bended down, and then pitch bended up, resampled it, and this is what you hear right here. back to old roots right there.
Dude, fire. That is fire.
And-
The breakdown you did for us to win in perfect detail as well. So hopefully
Hey,
people can
thank you
learn
so
from
much.
that.
Thank you so much.
Where can these folks stream that track?
They can stream it anywhere. Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon if you use Amazon Music.
OG on Beatport.
OG on Beatport. Download a copy on Beatport, support us.
Go buy a copy, support the boys.
Yes, 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 yes.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. You can follow us on Instagram too. He's successful_Twan, and I am Matias Moreno, MAT1AS Moreno. Yeah, I'm on SoundCloud too, so you just find Mati US as well. So is Twan. So
Mati's got some special tracks in the works. I know Twan does as well. Boys, I appreciate your time here. Appreciate the breakdown, Mati. I'd love to have you break down Jilly Bean for us at some point.
oh, that'd be an honor, bro. I appreciate yeah.
That's a great track as well. But other than that, fellas, appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
Sweet. Sounds good. Sounds good.
See you,
Appreciate
brother.
the time.
Appreciate